Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Laura and this is Small Stuff Big Family. Today I am doing the Wanderlust Travel Tag for you guys. I have 15 travel related questions to answer. 100% of the credit for today's video goes to Tinesha Davis over at Fun and Budget with Tinesha Davis. This is the very first video that I stumbled across for her channel, and I have been hooked on her videos ever since. If you have never watched one of her videos, go click over, find the first one that catches your eye and watch it, and I'm telling you that you will be like encaptured with this woman. I saw her do this travel tag, and just the stories that she told about her travels made me want to go and watch some of her travel vlogs that she had on her channel. It became this whole like binge watching spiral of goodness in like all the best ways. So she also has another channel called Sitting in a Tree, and that is with her long distance boyfriend Jay. They are just the most adorable YouTube couple to watch as well. So I will leave both of Tanisha's channels linked down below. And if that's not enough for you, this is also a collaboration with my good friend Carissa Shaylin. She loves to travel as well. She has traveled quite extensively, been to several other countries. And so she has some interesting stories that she has told about her travel on her channel. So I thought this would be a great one to do with her as well. We've collabed before, but if you've never gone and checked out her channel, or even if you have, make sure that you watch this video for Carissa as well and tell her that I sent you. Without further ado, let's get right on into the travel questions. Question number one is, where was your first plane to? My first plane ride was from St. Louis, Missouri, where I'm from, to Denver, Colorado. I went there with my mom and my sister back when I was in high school. I think I was 17 at the time, I believe. That was my first ever plane ride. Question number two is, where have you traveled that you would love to visit again? I'm one of those people that I typically will visit a place once and I will try to cram in as much as I can, take in all that there is to take in that area, and then I'll probably never travel to that same spot again because there's just so much that I want to see. So I know that like a repeat visit to the same spot is going to just be time taken up that could be used to be going somewhere new for the first time. So that being said, there are a couple of like local places that we like to visit that we can do for just like a quick little like weekend getaway because they're so close to home. So those places are like Branson. We have gone there several times. We will keep going back there. I love Silver Dollar City. And then Nashville is another place just because we went there for our honeymoon and we definitely want to go back at some point. Mark and I do love the downtown vibe in Nashville, so that is something that we will go back to eventually. Question number three says, you're leaving tomorrow, money is no object, where would you go? I would say one place that I really want to go to someday is Alaska. That's like top priority on my list to make sure that I do at some point. I really want to see the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis. I think that's how you say that. I want to see the glaciers before they're all melted, and I want to go whale watching. Mark really wants to go moose hunting, so I know he would enjoy an Alaskan vacation as well. Question number four is, preferred method of travel, planes, trains, or cars? Now, for this one, I think it depends. I really like flying by plane. I like those for the trips where maybe you only have like 3 to 5 days that you're going to be there and you've got a lot of things that you want to do. So like if I can't take off like a full week off of work and I can only take off a couple days to make like a long weekend trip, then I want to fly there so that we can maximize our time that we actually spend there. But like for our family trips, it would just be so expensive to take 5 kids on a plane, not to mention kind of like crazy and hectic. I like to drive in a van. I like to rent a van so we're not putting miles on our vehicle. when we want to drive somewhere far away for the kids, like when we went on our beach vacation a couple of years ago. I like to drive overnight whenever it's with the kids. But then again, I also have a trip that is in the works with my mom where we're kind of going to do both. We're going to fly from St. Louis out to like Northern California, probably like San Francisco, and then we're going to rent a car and drive all the way from California, see the redwoods, go into Oregon, stay up in Glacier National Park for a few days, maybe go down and visit the Badlands. Theodore Roosevelt National Park is on the list. All these places that my mom really wants to go to, like her bucket list road trip adventure, and I am planning on being able to go with her for that. So hopefully COVID we have to wait and see how that goes, but we're hoping to be able to do that next year. But yeah, so for that type of trip, because I've never driven through any of those states and we want to be able to like take our time and not be on like a set itinerary of having to catch a flight from one place to the next, I think it makes more sense to drive that whole way from California back to Missouri. So it just really kind of depends on what it is, how much time I have, who I'm going with. So yeah. Question number 5 is, what is your favorite travel website? I don't really have a specific website that I use. I just browse around. I am like a researcher at heart, like for my job, for anything that has to do with the kids, for any kind of travel. Just I like to find the best deal, the most efficient way of doing things sometimes, or like the best, not maybe necessarily the cheapest option, but like the best value for your money. So I will say like Southwest is probably my favorite airline that I have flown on. Renting cars, I use Enterprise typically. Now they're not usually the cheapest, so sometimes I'll go with other companies, but I'm just used to using them for work, and so I tend to just go with them for my personal travel too. Now I can say for sure my favorite app to use when I'm looking for a place for us to stay somewhere is VRBO. That's usually my first go-to. I've tried looking up places on Airbnb, which is a very similar app or website to VRBO. I just typically find that I always find a better deal or something that just seems to fit better for our situation on VRBO. Question number 6 is, where would you travel just to eat food? I don't even know. Like, my favorite type of food is sushi. So would that be like Japan maybe? I don't know. When it comes to like food, when I'm traveling, it's usually just like an afterthought. Like, just we have to eat something, so what's close by, what has good ratings. And a lot of times we do our own cooking whenever we go on vacations. I'm more of like a traveling somewhere to experience like the sightseeing, touristy type things, like cool monuments and buildings and places with history and stuff like that, more so than I am like for the food. Question number 7 is there a place you would never travel again? There's really no place that I've had like a really bad experience, so a place that like I would never travel to because it was awful. But I will say, like, I think Chicago is someplace I probably won't ever go to again. Again, not because I thought it was a bad experience, but I've been there twice already, and I think it's a really cool city. I like their public transportation. There's a lot of history there, a lot of really beautiful sights to see with like Lake Michigan right there and the Navy Pier. The Chicago skyline is pretty cool looking. But it's just the fact that like I've been there twice already, and I know that that's a place that like Mark said he really doesn't ever want to go to. His 3 like I don't ever really care to go there kind of places are New York, LA, and Chicago. And I've been to Chicago, so I'm fine with that, but I'm gonna have to go to New York or LA at some point in my life. Maybe one of the kids when they're older. I don't know, but I don't think Mark will go there, and I'm fine with never going to Chicago again. I've been there twice. It's a nice city. There's nothing wrong with it. I just don't think that I would need to go there again. Question number 8 is, can you recite your passport number by memory? If asked, the answer is no, because I don't have one. I have only been to Canada, like just across the US-Canada border when we were staying up in Minnesota, but that was so many years ago that they were not even requiring a passport to do that. I don't even know if, I would assume like now with everything going on, that they probably require a passport no matter what, you know, international border you're crossing, but at the time they didn't require that just to cross the US-Canadian border, so I didn't need one. I've never had one, but someday I will. Question number 9 is, do you prefer the window, the aisle, or the middle seat on an airplane? Of course I prefer the window seat. I like to take pictures. Now that I'm vlogging, I definitely would want to be able to like vlog little clips of, you know, looking out the window on the plane. That being said, if I was flying with somebody who had never flown before, I would definitely insist that they sit in the window seat, unless they're just like terrified of heights and they really didn't want to. But I just think that's a cool experience that everybody should get to do at some point in their lives. But other than that, like, I would probably try to take the window seat if I was flying with somebody who'd already flown a bunch of times before and didn't really care. Question number 10 is, how do you pass the time on an airplane? Listening to music, like I will download like on my iTunes. I can read on a plane. I get really car sick. I cannot read in the car at all, like not even for 30 seconds, and I'll feel like I'm gonna throw up because I get very motion sick on a car, not so much on a plane. It's usually not an issue. So I can read a book on the plane or just talk with the person that I'm traveling with. That's probably my favorite thing to do. Or sleep. Sometimes sometimes when you're catching those like really late or early morning flights, or if we are just coming back from like an exhausting vacation, then sometimes I'll sleep on the plane too. Question number 11 is, what is your most treasured passport stamp? Again, sad I don't have one, but someday. Question number 12 is, what are your top 3 travel items? I would say my phone, for sure. That is number 1, because especially if I'm traveling, like, well, it doesn't really matter with my kids or without my kids, if there's an emergency and like grandma or the other parent or whoever is with the kids while we're gone, you know, has an emergency and needs to get a hold of me, or if we're out somewhere and there's an emergency, I want to have my phone on me at all times. I also use my phone all the time when we're gone, like, because I will make like a whole like itinerary, so I'll have that like saved into the notes of my phone, like of the places that I really wanted to make sure that we went to and looked at. And like when we're driving around and looking for food, I'll Google restaurants near me and read the reviews and look at the menus to decide where we're gonna eat. So yeah, definitely need my phone. And now that I'm vlogging, I would definitely want to take my vlogging camera with me because I really like capturing all of those moments. And then third item I would take is probably like a backpack, I think, because instead of like a purse, like I said, I like to do a lot of like the sightseeing, the touristy things, going to like state parks and national parks that are close by us and doing some of like the nature, you know, exploring, and backpacks are usually like the best thing because you can carry like little mini first aid packs in them and a water bottle and your vlogging camera and your phone and your wallet and your sunglasses and sunscreen and bug spray, everything that you need. So a backpack is usually a must whenever I'm traveling too. So I would say those 3 things. Question 13 is a hostel or a hotel? I have never stayed in a hostel. I will stay in a hotel, like I said earlier, if it's just like maybe a quick like one night overnight with my husband or, you know, a friend or something like that. But typically I really prefer to stay in like a rental property, so like a rental condo or a cabin or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. That's just my personal preference. Like I said, we like to do our own cooking, so I want to have like the full kitchen. I don't know about a hostel, but I know a hotel typically only has like a microwave and a mini fridge, and that's just not gonna do it for us. I like to have the whole comfort of home whenever I'm traveling, so a rental property is usually what I go with. Question 14 is, are you a repeat visitor or do you explore new places? And I already answered that for you guys. That is, I'm definitely like a one and done type of person when it comes to planning vacations. Even though like we'll go to a place and I'll say how much fun it was, how much we loved it, how much we're sad to be leaving it. And you know, maybe someday we should go back, but then like I can name on probably one hand the places that I've like circled back to over and over again. And other than that, it's usually like somewhere brand new that I've never been before that I'm wanting to plan our travel to. And the last question is, where would you recommend a friend to visit? Name the city and why. For this one, I'm going to give you guys the same answer that I had commented on Tanisha's video when I watched this one on her channel for the first time, and that is Hot Springs, Arkansas. Now keep in mind, like I said, I've never traveled really technically outside of the United States, so and trust me, like Hot Springs, Arkansas, I never thought that that would be a place that I would recommend people to go until we actually went there. I was so surprised when we went to Hot Springs about how much history there is in that small little city that I did not know about. The architecture of like the bathhouses on like the bathhouse row. I'll put in some pictures here from our trip when we went. It's just gorgeous. So if you like really cool old buildings, if you like history, there are things that I didn't know about that area. Like for instance, did you know that Hot Springs, Arkansas was pretty much considered like the first like Vegas before Vegas? There are still really neat bars that even have like bullet holes in the walls that have been preserved that happened back in the day. The actual like hot springs themselves, so like if you like nature, if you like history, if you like culture, it is just a really neat place. The spa was really awesome. We got like a personal private bath with like the aromatherapy and a couples massage afterwards. It was so luxurious and nice. We stayed in a cabin in the middle of February that had a hot tub out on the back deck, and that was super fun. It's beautiful with like the rolling hills. It's kind of like a city that's nestled down in a little valley with big sprawling hills all around it. So it's just a beautiful city. It's very interesting, and if you've never been, I definitely recommend that to you. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up because it really helps my channel grow. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more. We do have a trip planned at the end of October. Mark and I are going to Estes Park, Colorado, so there'll be a lot of really fun travel vlogs coming up. If you're into that kind of thing, stick around. We do a lot of little local exploring, hiking, travel type vlogs as well. So hit the subscribe button if that sounds good to you. I would love to have you around. Don't forget to check out Tanisha's channel, actually both of her channels because they're both equally awesome. And don't forget to check out Carissa's video with her travel tag questions that she answered for you guys as well. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have an amazing day, and I'll see you again next time.